Welcome to Liberty Today, the show that asks the question, is Common Core rotten to the core? Also, U.S. Senate candidate Stace Nelson is here to present his contract with South Dakota. And Judge Morgan hands down a decision on social justice in America. All this and more on Liberty Today.
Hello, folks. My name is Representative Stace Nelson, and I'm running to be your next U.S. Senator from South Dakota. Out of respect for you, and in not keeping with the traditions of politicians across this great nation that we're all concerned with, that have caused so many problems in D.C., I want to be able to look at you in the eye and tell you where I stand on some of the major issues that concern you. Because you, the voter, have a right to know where I stand on these issues, as well as any candidate. And I want to take that step and lead the way in bringing back an old-fashioned American tradition of doing so. And with that in mind, I've prepared what I call a contract with South Dakota. As your fellow countryman seeking to serve you in your United States Senate, I propose not just a change in policies, but even more importantly, to help restore the bonds of trust of we, the people, with those who are supposed to be our faithful public servants. That is why, in this era of political evasion, equivocation, and posturing, I submit to you now a detailed commitment to rein in our federal government with no fine print. Next year's election offers a chance, after decades of politicians expanding government, to bring to Congress an actual public servant that will work to reduce a government that is too big, too intrusive, and too easy with your money. A public servant that will insist that Congress respects the rights of the people, our values, and the faith of the American family. Like President Lincoln, I will serve you with firmness in the right, as God gives us to see the right. I will set the example of how an honest public servant answers to, is loyal to, and serves you, the public. I will help restore accountability to Congress and restore the standard of how the free people of this great nation should be able to live without fearing our government. This contract with you is aimed at restoring the faith and trust of you, the American people, with those who are supposed to serve you. Therefore, I, Stacy Victor Nelson, pledge to the taxpayers of South Dakota and to the American people that I will support only legislation that is constitutionally sound and which equally applies to all Americans, to include Congress. I will oppose any and all efforts to increase the marginal income tax rates for individuals and/or businesses, and oppose any net reduction or elimination of deductions and credits unless matched dollar for dollar by further reducing tax rates. I will support the reduction of the income tax, review and reduction of other federal taxes, limit or reduce government spending, and support the rest of the South Dakota Republican Party platform. Except when related to a congressional authorization of force, I will consider all spending open for reduction and vote only for budgets that present a path to balance, and vote against any appropriations bill that increases total spending and against the authorization or funding of new programs without offsetting cuts in other programs. I will only support only nominations to the Supreme Court and U.S. federal benches, judges who are committed to restraint and applying the original meaning of the Constitution, not legislating from the bench. I will oppose any further stimulus spending or bailouts. I will support the repeal of the federal death tax. I will oppose any amnesty for illegal aliens, actively work to require the securing of our borders, and I will support measures which prohibit employers from knowingly hiring illegal aliens. I will support the full repeal of Obamacare, also known as the Patient Protection and Affordable Care Act, and I will oppose any bill or budget resolution that provides funding or implement or enforce any part of it. I will support pro-life legislation to permanently end all taxpayer funding of abortion in all domestic and international spending programs, and defund Planned Parenthood and all other contractors and recipients of federal funds with affiliates that perform abortions. I will oppose any effort to seize or require registration of Americans' firearms or any other efforts to subvert or limit Americans' constitutional Second Amendment rights. And I will actively support national concealed carry permit reciprocity. as well as other legislation that ensures American Second Amendment rights. I will support legislation of drug testing for anyone receiving public assistance. I will honor my oath to support the Constitution of the the Constitution of the State of South Dakota, to include Article 3, Section 32, term limitations for United States Congressmen. No person may be elected to more than 2 consecutive terms in the United States Senate, or more than 6 consecutive terms in the United States House of Representatives. And I will support legislation to enact those term limits nationally, to replace career politicians with citizen legislators. Lastly, I will care for our veterans and for their widows and their orphans by working with the American Legion, Veterans of Foreign Wars, Fleet Reserve Association, Marine Corps League, Disabled American Veterans, Paralyzed Veterans of America, Vietnam Veterans of America, Purple Heart Association, Military Order of the Purple Heart, and other service groups to identify and support legislation that removes employment barriers and ensures our nation is fulfilling our obligations to those of us who have borne the cost of our freedom. This I swear to you, my fellow South Dakotans and the American people. Thank you.